So, as you guys can tell, I'm in a different room. I'm no longer in my apartment over in Adelaide because I decided to move back home. I'm living with my dad at the moment, and I got my 2 dogs here with me right now. But before I left Adelaide, I wrote a mini article about making big decisions in life. How to make ballsy ass decisions. Because this decision wasn't exactly an easy one, and I know that making hard decisions is often the hardest thing that you can do in life. So I have 3 ideas for you to make ballsy ass decisions. Number 1, the reason why you're struggling to make a big decision is because you're trying to find a solution where you experience no pain. A lot of the time, whatever you decide, there's always going to be some pain. When I was in Adelaide, I was working a job I was pretty unhappy with. I liked the work was fine, but the management was really starting to frustrate me. It was frustrating me for over 12 months. And it basically got to the point where I needed to make a decision. I couldn't stand walking to work every morning and thinking, God damn, I can't wait to quit. And then I would walk back thinking, God damn, I can't wait to quit. So I gave myself 3 options. The first was to continue doing what I'm doing, keep working the job, and keep working on the personal brand. It sounds cringy to say, but that's the most accurate way to describe what I'm trying to do here. So I can keep doing that. Second option is to leave the job, keep living in Adelaide, but find a different engineering job. But that wasn't too enticing because then my focus would be taken away from the personal brand, which is ultimately where I want to take things. So that's not ideal in any way. And the third option, which is what I decided, was to quit the job, move back home, be unemployed, and just go all in on this thing that we're doing now. And it's actually a pretty insane decision for a few reasons. One, I don't have any money coming in at all, so I'm completely reliant on my savings and also cutting costs, thankfully because I'm living with my daddy. And the second one is just psychologically. I had my own place in Adelaide. I had a very nice lifestyle. And coming back here in some ways feels like a step backwards rather than a step forwards. Sometimes you have to figure out what it is that you hate least, and then you have to do that. Number 2, mistakes only look like mistakes through the revision mirror, but through the windshield though, they only look like risks. Moving out to Adelaide for this job seemed like a pretty big risk at the time. I was leaving behind a well-paying job for a job that paid half as much. And not everyone in my life agreed with the decision, but they understood that I wanted to take on a new challenge, do some work that seemed quite interesting to me, and also move out to a new city. Has been on my list for a while. Unfortunately, the job didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. It was a startup, and I was thinking that I could do some really cool research and development work with this company and grow with it, eventually becoming a manager of this R&D team. Didn't work out that way, which is fine. Rather unfortunate, but it's fine. It would be pretty easy for me to look back at my time in Adelaide and be like, well, that was a mistake. And honestly, you can make a pretty good justification for it, especially in terms of finances. But my point is, you need to take the risk and you need to make those mistakes because you're always going to learn way more from making mistakes, the things that didn't work out the way you wanted to, because it reveals to you what you actually want and what you don't want. And they're absolutely important lessons to learn. Some things you can't learn secondhand by listening to someone else. I think Chris Williamson has this idea of unteachable lessons. And moving out to a city for an exciting job that didn't work out is one of those unteachable lessons. And number 3, momentum is way more important than perfection. I think the number 1 reason why most people stay in situations that they're not happy with is because they are terrified of the unknown. It's that high level of uncertainty that just paralyzes people. So momentum is far more important than trying to come up with the perfect solution. Because there is no perfect solution. You always want to feel pain. And there's always going to be a risk. And it's simply because they don't step out into the unknown and then deal with that level of uncertainty that they never realize their own potential. I truly believe that a bad decision made now is infinitely better than a perfect decision never made. Going from 0 to 1 is way harder than going from 1 to 2 because you have to overcome inertia. Once you're already moving, it's way easier to just keep moving. I really wish that more people realize that being comfortable for too long just results in discomfort. So if I'm always going to be uncomfortable, I may as well choose the discomfort that produces growth rather than causes regression. So if you need to make some ballsy ass decisions, you need to realize that every option you have, you're going to experience some level of pain. You need to figure out what you hate least, take that risk, and be prepared to make the mistake. Because making a bad decision now that builds momentum is far better than waiting for a perfect decision and never making it at all. So yeah, make some ballsy ass decisions, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.